Let's talk about it. All right, let's get real for a minute. Are you finding yourself feeling constantly worried? I'm talking about that non-stop, gut-wrenching worry that just won't quit, no matter what you do. Maybe you feel restless, like you've got this engine inside you that's always running, but you're not going anywhere. You feel completely and totally overwhelmed by life, by the little things, by the big things, by everything. You're lying awake at night, your mind racing, replaying conversations, catastrophizing about tomorrow, and you just can't shut it off. It's exhausting, isn't it? It robs you of your peace, your joy, and your ability to just be present. Now, a lot of folks I talk to, they describe these exact feelings, and then they start talking about feeling hopeless, sad, and empty. They start to wonder if there's something more going on, something deeper. That brings up a critical question that we need to address head-on. Is anxiety linked to depression? Is that constant worry, that edginess, that feeling of being overwhelmed, actually a doorway to a much darker room? Are these two separate issues? Or are they two sides of the same coin? People get confused, and that confusion can stop you from getting the help you need and deserve. Well, you came to the right place, because we're not going to dance around this. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to pull back the curtain on what's really happening in your head and in your heart. It's time to stop guessing and start understanding. Let's break it down in this video. Stay tuned to learn more. We're going to talk about the 10 big signs of anxiety and how they connect or don't connect to depression. Let's wake up and get started. The first sign, and this is a big one, is excessive worrying. Now, I'm not talking about the normal everyday concern you might have before a big presentation or a job interview. That's just being human. I'm talking about a level of worry that is completely out of proportion to the situation. You're overthinking every little thing, from a comment a coworker made to whether you locked the front door, even though you've checked it 3 times. It's a constant what-if game playing on a loop in your head, and you are always, and I mean always, expecting the absolute worst-case scenario. It's like your mind has a built-in catastrophe generator. This isn't just a bad habit, it's a symptom. It's your brain getting stuck in a cycle of fear, unable to find an off switch. You find yourself creating elaborate, disastrous outcomes for situations that haven't even happened yet. You might worry about your health, your family's safety, your job security, or your finances to a point where it's paralyzing. This isn't productive problem solving. It's a toxic runaway train of thought that drains your energy and steals your ability to enjoy the present moment. If your worry is persistent, pervasive, and feels uncontrollable, you need to pay close attention. This is a red flag, and you can't afford to ignore it. Next up, let's talk about restlessness. This isn't just about having a little extra energy. This is a feeling of being constantly on edge, keyed up, like you can't sit still or relax your body and your mind. You might find yourself fidgeting, tapping your foot, pacing around the room, or feeling an intense, uncomfortable urge to move. It's as if your body's alarm system is stuck in the on position, and you're living in a state of high alert for a threat that never seems to arrive. You're at home, supposed to be relaxing, but you feel this internal vibration, this hum of nervous energy that just won't quit. This isn't a choice. It's a physical manifestation of the mental chaos we just talked about. Your mind is racing, and your body is right there with it, unable to find a state of calm. People might tell you to just relax, but that's like telling someone with a broken leg to just walk it off. It's not that simple. This feeling of being on edge makes it impossible to unwind, to enjoy a quiet moment, or to simply be. It's a profound sense of unease that follows you everywhere, making you feel trapped in your own skin. If you can't remember the last time you felt truly, deeply relaxed, that's a sign that anxiety is running the show. Now, this next one might sound contradictory, but it's crucial. Sign number 3 is fatigue. You'd think with all that restlessness and worry, you'd be wired, right? Wrong. Being in a constant state of high alert is mentally and physically exhausting. Think about it. Your brain is working overtime, your muscles are tense, your heart rate is up. Your body is perpetually in fight or flight mode, burning through your energy reserves at an incredible rate. It's like running a marathon every single day without ever crossing a finish line. Of course you're tired. This isn't the kind of tired that a good night's sleep can fix. This is a deep, bone-weary exhaustion that lingers from the moment you wake up. It's a mental fatigue where even simple decisions feel like climbing Mount Everest. Your brain feels foggy, your body feels heavy, and you just don't have the get up and go that you used to. People mistake this for laziness, and maybe you even accuse yourself of being lazy. But it's not. It's the predictable biological result of your system being overloaded with stress hormones for far too long. Your body is screaming for a break that your mind won't allow it to take. Let's move on to sign number 4, difficulty concentrating. When your mind is hijacked by worry, there's just not much room left for anything else. You might find yourself reading the same page of a book over and over, completely unable to absorb the words. Or maybe you're in a meeting at work, and you realize you haven't heard a single thing that's been said for the last 10 minutes because your mind was off somewhere else, worrying about something totally unrelated. It feels like your brain is filled with fog, or like you're trying to tune in to a radio station that's full of static. Your attention is constantly being pulled away by anxious thoughts. It's not a matter of willpower. Your brain is prioritizing perceived threats over the task at hand. This can be incredibly frustrating and can impact your performance at work or school, and even your ability to have a meaningful conversation. You might lose your train of thought mid-sentence or forget what you were about to do. This isn't you being scatterbrained. It's a classic symptom of an anxious mind. Your focus is fragmented because your mental energy is being consumed by the non-stop what-if scenarios playing out in your head. All right, sign number 5 is irritability. Do you find yourself snapping at people, getting frustrated over the smallest things that wouldn't normally bother you? Maybe the sound of someone chewing or a driver cutting you off in traffic sends you into a rage. When you're living with chronic anxiety, your patience wears incredibly thin. Your nervous system is already on high alert, so your tolerance for any additional stress, no matter how minor, is practically zero. You're already carrying a heavy load, and one more little thing feels like the straw that's going to break the camel's back. This irritability can be confusing for you and the people around you. They might see you as angry or mean, and you might even start to believe that about yourself. But you need to understand where it's coming from. It's not about your character, it's about your capacity. Your emotional reserves are depleted. You're so overwhelmed by your own internal turmoil that you have no bandwidth left to deal with external frustrations gracefully. This can lead to conflict in your relationships, pushing away the very people you need for support. If you're constantly on a short fuse, it's time to look at the underlying anxiety that's fueling that fire. Let's talk about what happens when you turn out the lights. Sign number 6 is sleep problems. For someone with anxiety, nighttime can be the worst time. As soon as your head hits the pillow and the distractions of the day fade away, your anxious thoughts turn up the volume. You might have trouble falling asleep because your mind is racing, replaying events from the day, or worrying about what tomorrow might bring. The what-ifs become monsters in the dark, and you lie there staring at the ceiling for hours, desperate for sleep that just won't come. Or maybe you fall asleep okay, but you can't asleep. You wake up in the middle of the night, maybe with your heart pounding, and you're wide awake. Your worries come rushing back in, and getting back to sleep feels impossible. This isn't just a bad night here and there. This becomes a pattern. The lack of restorative sleep then fuels the anxiety, the fatigue, and the irritability the next day, creating a vicious cycle that is incredibly difficult to break. If your bed has become a battleground for your mind instead of a place of rest, that's a serious sign that anxiety has taken hold. Let's get physical. Sign number 7 is muscle tension. So anxiety isn't just in your head, it lives in your body too. When you're perpetually stressed and worried, your body stays braced for a threat. This leads to chronic muscle tension. You might have a stiff neck, sore shoulders, a tight jaw from clenching your teeth, or even persistent tension headaches. Sometimes you might not even realize you're doing it. You just go through your day with your shoulders hunched up around your ears or your fists clenched, and you don't notice it until you consciously try to relax and suddenly feel the ache. This constant state of tension is your body's physical response to the mental alarm bells that are always ringing. It's part of the fight-or-flight response, preparing your muscles for action. But when there's no actual physical threat to fight or flee from, that tension just builds up, causing aches, pains, and stiffness. You might get massages or take pain relievers, but the tension keeps coming back because you're not addressing the root cause, the anxiety. If you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, quite literally, it's time to consider that anxiety is the source of that physical burden. Now we need to talk about one of the most frightening signs of anxiety. Sign number 8 is panic attacks. A panic attack is a sudden, overwhelming wave of intense fear that comes out of nowhere. It's not just feeling very anxious, it's a full-blown physical and emotional crisis. Your heart might start pounding out of your chest, you might feel like you can't breathe or you're choking, and you might start to tremble or feel dizzy. Some people feel a tingling in their hands and feet or a sudden hot flash or chill. It's honestly terrifying. During a panic attack, you might genuinely believe you're having a heart attack, that you're going crazy, or even that you're about to die. The experience is so intense and so physical that it's hard to believe it's just anxiety. These attacks can be so frightening that you start to live in fear of having another one, which only creates more anxiety. You might start avoiding places or situations where you've had an attack before. If you've ever experienced this sudden, terrifying surge of fear and physical symptoms, it's not something to be dismissed. It is a hallmark symptom of a panic disorder, a severe form of anxiety, and it's a clear signal that you need to get help. Sign number 9 is a behavioral one, avoiding social situations. Does the thought of going to a party, making small talk with strangers, or even just going to the grocery store fill you with dread? If you find yourself making excuses to get out of social gatherings, or you feel intense anxiety before, during, and after them, you may be dealing with social anxiety. It's more than just being shy or introverted. It's a powerful fear of being judged, scrutinized, or embarrassing yourself in front of other people. You worry that you'll say the wrong thing, that people will notice you're anxious, or that you'll be rejected. This fear can be so powerful that it leads you to isolate yourself. You turn down invitations, you avoid making eye contact, and you might even struggle with things like eating in front of others or using public restrooms. Your world starts to shrink as you cut out activities and people to avoid the possibility of feeling judged or humiliated. This avoidance provides temporary relief, but in the long run, it just reinforces the anxiety and can lead to profound loneliness and, you guessed it, depression. If your fear of what other people think is dictating your life, that's a sign of anxiety that you have to confront. Finally, let's wrap up with sign number 10, which is a catch-all for other physical symptoms. Your gut is often called your second brain, and there's a good reason for that. Anxiety can wreak havoc on your digestive system, leading to things like nausea, stomach cramps, diarrhea, or irritable bowel syndrome. You might also experience dizziness or lightheadedness, feeling like you're about to faint. Excessive sweating, even when you're not hot, is another common sign, as is trembling or shaking that you can't seem to control. These are not imaginary symptoms. These are real physiological responses to the stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol that are flooding your system. Your body is reacting to the state of high alert your mind is in. People often go to doctor after doctor, getting test after test, trying to find a physical cause for these ailments, only to be told that everything is normal. This can be incredibly frustrating. But it's vital to understand that these physical symptoms are just as real and just as valid as the mental ones. They are tangible evidence that your nervous system is in overdrive, and they are a clear sign that anxiety is impacting your whole being. So, we've gone through the 10 signs, and now we're back to that big question. Is anxiety linked to depression? The answer is an absolute, unequivocal yes. These two conditions are not distant cousins. They are siblings that often live in the same house. In fact, more than half of the people diagnosed with depression are also diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. They often go hand in hand, with many overlapping symptoms that we've talked about today, like fatigue, irritability, sleep problems, and difficulty concentrating. It can be hard to tell where one ends and the other begins. It's a two-way street, a real chicken and egg situation. Chronic anxiety, with its constant worry and stress, can wear you down over time, draining your energy and hope, which can lead to depression. On the other side, the hopelessness and low energy of depression can make you feel vulnerable and unsafe, which can cause anxiety. You can get caught in a vicious cycle where the anxiety feeds the depression, and the depression feeds the anxiety. Recognizing this link is the first and most critical step toward breaking that cycle and reclaiming your life. You're not fighting two separate battles, you're fighting one war on two fronts. So what do? You stop fighting alone. You have to get real with yourself and admit that you need a new strategy. That starts with talking to someone you trust, a friend, a family member, or a professional. Practicing self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. That means getting good sleep, moving your body, and finding healthy ways to manage stress. And most importantly, seeking professional help from a therapist or a doctor is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's you taking control of your health. Have you experienced anxiety or depression? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be the one that helps someone else feel less alone.